Hi everyone, Christina here. Welcome to another video at my YouTube channel. I'm going to cut right to the chase here. This is a video kind of experimenting with black cardstock and white embossing. I have experienced a lot recently, and I've had a lot of people around me question things about getting really good results with small words that are heat embossed on black cardstock or any dark surface that you're using. So I thought I would do a little bit of an experiment today. These are 4 types of black cardstock that are in my craft room. I've got 4 different types. I'm going to test all 4 and see if there's any different results. And I'm also going to test 2 different methods when heating up the embossing powder. So first I want to talk about the cardstocks, because you'll notice one of them is a much more deep black than the others. That's the Hero Arts one right here. It's their Hero Hues black. It's a Black Night black. I can't remember what it is, what the name of it is, but it's the new Hero Arts premium cardstock. It is so intense black, and it's also much thicker than the other ones here. I don't know. I really love it. I only have a few sheets of it. I just ordered a bunch. It was out of stock for a long, long time at MISTI Stamp, but it's back in stock now as of yesterday. I ordered a bunch, and they also have it at the Hero Arts website, so you can order directly from them if you really love this cardstock. But I wanted to go over these. So I've got Gina K Black Onyx, Hero Arts. I have, I can pick this up with my nails here, the MISTI Stamp Black, and then I also have the Bazzill Card Shop Licorice Twist. But I do have to mention something about the Bazzill one. This is like a pack that I bought probably 4 or 5 months ago, and then this paper I did a swatch chart, and this was probably, I don't know, maybe a couple years ago. I know it's Bazzill because it's still got the Bazzill strip on the bottom here that says Bazzill. But there is a color difference. I don't know if you guys will be able to see that, but there is a color difference. This is supposed to be the same cardstock. So I'm not sure if it's just a production run issue, but there's a difference in color. It used to be much more intense. I mean, not quite as dark as the Hero Arts, but darker than what is currently on the market. So I'm not sure what the deal is with that. I might have to order some maybe directly from them, see if there's a difference. So I don't know, just something to note. All right, I've grabbed my mini MISTI. Haven't used this mini one in a while. I grabbed it just because these are smaller pieces of cardstock. I'm not going to need, a big, huge MISTI for this. All right, the first cardstock I'm going to be using is from Gina K. I'm going to be using the Tiny Words birthday stamp set from MISTI Stamp, and I've chosen a greeting that has a bolded first line and then very, very small words for the subsequent 4 lines of text. So I'm just going to put that stamp right there. Use an anti-static powder tool just to help with the embossing as much as I can. And then I'm using Versamark ink. I'm only going to stamp this once each time. Just a gentle press, not too much. The embossing powder I'm using today is Brutus Monroe Alabaster. That's the one I always use. And so just to keep it consistent, that's the one I'll be testing with today. All right, my 2 methods of embossing. The first method I'm going to do is completely all from the top. The second method is I'm going to heat from the bottom first and then come to the top. I heard a tip on Facebook a while back that when you're embossing on black or dark surface cardstock, you can help eliminate that kind of mottled, kind of melting into the paper look by embossing from the back first, because it melts the bottom surface, and then you emboss the top. That just helps all those all the embossing powder from absorbing. So this first method I'm going to be using just from the top. I'm also going to heat up my heat tool a little bit before going into this first one, and then when I go through the rest of the examples of the different cardstocks, my heat tool will already be all heated up. Okay, that has pretty great results. I don't really have any issues with that. It looks great. All right, I'm going to go to the other cardstocks and stamp the same thing. hoping you guys can see that. On this one, I think it's still pretty crisp, but I did have a few more little speckles of embossing powder kind of where they shouldn't be. I think you guys can see that, but really fairly close. This one is really clean. It turned out great. There is a little bit, I noticed a little more warping of the cardstock as compared to the other two, but nothing too serious. I really like how this one turned out. It's nice and crisp. All right, this one went okay. There was a little, about as much warping as the Simon's stamp paper, but I don't have any real big complaints. It looks like there's a couple little gaps in the embossing, but still really good overall. Before we move on to the second method of embossing, I'm going to use this stamp set called Lots to Say from Concord and 9th. This is a little bit of a larger greeting and a little more bold. I just want to see if that affects anything. Okay, still holding up pretty well. There is a little bit, I don't know if you can see on this Y over here. I've got embossing powder on my finger. Some of the embossing powder isn't completely filled in. There's a little bit of gapping over here. It looks like it's not quite as solid as it could be. Next up, we've got Licorice Twist. Okay, this one looks about the same as the Gina K. There's a couple little areas where it's not filled in, but for the most part, not bad. It might be showing a little bit of the texture of the cardstock. That's why it's not filling in as much. Maybe there's a little bit more of that like modeling look on the O over there. I'll try to do some really up-close photos comparing everything at the end. This one, in comparison to the first two, seems like it's a little more solid. There is a little bit of that modeling, but it just seems more solid and more white. I don't know if that really is the case, but my first impression, that's what it seems like. Okay, this one seems, there's a couple little spots, like on the H right here and on the B, where little areas have kind of dropped out a little bit. But overall, not bad. I really like it. It looks really solid. All right, I'm going to do a third greeting. This one is from Altenew's Leaf Canopy stamp set. It's This Life is Better with Friends. I thought this one would be interesting because it has a very thin lined font, followed by one that has thick lines and thin lines, very, very thin lines. I thought it would be a good test greeting to use. So I'm gonna put that right there, and we'll test this one out. Okay, I think this is a good one to test because you're gonna see a big difference. The solid areas on the Friends, there's a lot of little pits and modeling in the greeting, like right in the white. Looks like I missed a little bit of ink right there. That's my bad. That's nothing to do with the embossing powder or the stamp. But interesting findings. So Gina K Black Onyx, for the most part, has been pretty good. I'm not enjoying how this filled out, though. Okay, kind of the same issue on this one. The really solid areas aren't all filled in. So, yeah, what can I say? It might just be the nature of embossing powder. We're going to keep testing and find out. Okay, looks like I still have issues with that H. I must not be pressing down all the way. There aren't as many pits in the solid white. I'm hoping you guys can see that. Can you see that? I have no idea. It'll probably show in the photos at the end here, but a little bit better than how it looked on the previous two. Okay, I'd say this, like the little pitting or the spots, is about on par with the Simon's stamp cardstock. So still not perfect, but better than the Gina K and the Bazzill. So there we go. All right, now we're going to test that other method. I've gotten pretty good results with all of the stamps so far. Like nothing to, shake your fist at. But I am going to test these now using that other method by heating from the back. I don't notice a huge difference. They look about the same to me. I think this one is a little bit more solid, the one from the front, but the one from the back is equally as good. I don't think it really matters on this really small grading. This is a really static, clingy cardstock. I don't know what the deal is. It's having issues. Okay, from the bottom. Okay. Well, I think I had some major like stamping issues there. I think that's on me. The embossing itself is much more softened as compared to the from the top. So in this case, I think from the front wins. Okay, I hope you guys can see this. It seems like a little bit more of it is melting into the cardstock than up here. It's a little bit sharper up here. From the front is winning on this one too. Okay, I think it's the same one with this one. Like there are some areas that are melting into the cardstock more than before. So I think heating from underneath and then finishing up on top is just too much. So I think that's the issue there. Okay, I don't see a big difference in this one. It seems about the same. By the way, I got a new EK Success powder tool like in the last few weeks. They've changed the scent of the powder. I really like it. It's sort of smells like a cologne or a perfume of some sort. It doesn't smell like baby powder anymore. Like I found out before, the Bazzill does not do well from underneath. So no on that one. This one's about the same. The Simon's Stamp Black is about the same. I don't see a huge difference in results from, you know, overhead to underneath. They're about the same. Like I noticed with the previous grading, from heating underneath and then over on top as well, I get more of that like mottled, melted into the cardstock. I think this one looks better. This one's definitely brighter. All right, for this last one, which was the Life is Better with Friends from Altenew, I'm going to try something a little bit different because I think across the board, the two methods of embossing, it's pretty much the same, maybe not quite as good when you do the underneath. So for this last one, I'm going to change it up a little bit, and I'm going to stamp the stamp twice to see if that really coats the paper a little bit better, and I get the really solid areas to stamp better than I did before. So I'm going to prep the area, ink up the stamp really well, and I'm going to stamp this twice because you can, oh, my cardstock moved. Okay, we'll stamp it along this side here instead. Okay, I hope you guys can see the comparison between these two. It is much more filled in when you stamp it twice. So I'm going to use that method on all the other cardstocks and see what happens. Like on the Gina K cardstock, stamping it twice did help get a better coverage of embossing powder. About the same results, maybe a little bit better. Yeah, a little bit better with double stamping. That's a Simon's Stamp Black. Also has a little bit more solid areas, but you know, almost the same. Okay, final conclusions. I would say the cardstock that performed the best overall, I would have to say Simon's Stamp Black. That's the one that performed the best overall with the crispest type, the best solid areas, especially on the Friends from Altenew. I would say the one that looks the messiest and for whatever reason just was embossing powder was grabbing onto it was the Bazzill Licorice Twist. As far as this like deep blackish color that I just love, has to go to Hero Arts. Theirs is just a much deeper black. Okay, so my theory, or what I've heard about embossing on the underside first and then going to the top, didn't really hold up. I think it's kind of like hit or miss. It just depends. What I did learn the most when I was doing this was you need to move that heat tool off those areas as soon as they melt. You need to be fast about it. It's almost better to underheat it and need to heat it a little bit more, like with a second pass, than to overheat it on the first time. So that would be my tip for you guys, is to go like really fast over the area. If it's not quite melted, go over it again really fast, because you don't want to melt that area any more than it needs to be. All of these cardstocks work great. I've used them all on projects over the years, except for the Hero Arts. I haven't used that one as much since it's newer to my stash, but all of them are great. I think all of them would work. I think it really is it probably comes down to your process. Make sure you use an anti-static powder tool. In my case, I was using an EK Success powder tool. There's also embossing buddies or embossing bags you can use. Make sure you use an anti-static powder tool. Keep your heating quick and have a really good embossing powder. Some people don't, they might not realize that embossing powder can go bad over time. They don't have like an expiration date per se, but if you notice that for some reason suddenly your embossing just isn't performing as well as it has been in the past, probably means you need to update your embossing powder. Just get a new jar of it and you should be good to go. The embossing powders I really like to use, the one I'm using today, the Brutus Monroe Alabaster. I also really like Ranger Ultra Fine, I think, or Detailed Fine. They have a white version that's really great. And the Hero Arts embossing powder is great as well. All of those I've used in the past, and I have no complaints. I think I actually have a jar of the Simon Says Stamp Ultra Detailed White as well. I haven't used it in a long time, so I can't say for sure. I don't think I had a complaint about it, so it's probably good. But yeah, I think it's more about your process than anything. Hope that helped you guys out. Kind of inconclusive, I guess. Not like a major winner in one area or the other, but I think it just goes to show that embossing a very fine detailed stamp that's on white embossing powder on dark surfaces, it's just one of those like beastly type of things. You're going to have trouble with it no matter what. I also have embossing powder, like little bits everywhere. I think it's unavoidable. It's a powder. It just goes everywhere. You just have to deal with it. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I've got 3 more videos on screen for you to check out if you want to kind of delve deeper into my YouTube channel, see some projects. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button so I know you like the video. And I will see you in another video very soon. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.